Thank you for tuning in to part 3 of my ultimate guide to making credits in Elite Dangerous. This is Endofury here, and I'm about to outline a way that you can make a considerable amount of money in little 10 or 15 minute chunks. So I left off with part 2 with you guys doing Road to Riches, which should make you roughly 20 million an hour. So after a few hours of doing that, I'm assuming you reach the target number of 70 million credits that I recommend that you earn before moving on to step 3 here. And step 3 is going to involve using a Python chip with a build that I've outlined in a link below. And let me go ahead and bring that up in Coriolis so that we can take a look at it. And as you can see, this ship does not have a shield, nor a docking computer. Now that means this activity does require a little bit more skill than anything we've done previously. Now you could sacrifice one of these cabins for a docking computer or a shield, but I would advise against at least the docking computer because it's slow to dock and you have to avoid getting scanned when you're docking or anywhere near the station, because if you do get scanned, the station will blow you up because often you'll be carrying illegal passengers. So there is a bit of smuggling to this task. So it's better to be able to fly well and learn how to line up the slot to the station on a safe disengage, which I'll show you. So the build includes a 6C fuel scoop, which you really don't need for this activity, but you do need to get to the location that you do the activity at. So make sure you buy a second 6C first class passenger cabin and store it so that when you get to CEOS, which is the system you'll be doing this in, you can transfer it there and put it on your ship. Now, when you're looking for this Python, let's assume that you're in Procyon and you just turned in the data, and Procyon's the place I recommended in part 2 that you do that in order to get maximum rep with the Sirius Corporation, which you need for not only unlocking Marco Quent, one of the engineers, but also it's useful in CEOS because it's one of the factions out here that you get passenger missions from. So you'll already be repped up with one of those, which will allow you to start taking better missions earlier. So in Coriolis, you can actually click these gear cogs and you can set a 15%. Well, before I do that, let me show you something. This build is roughly 70 million credits without a discount. So you could do that and you're flying by the seat of your pants with barely any money left to buy anything, buy a rebuy if you blow up the ship, unless you had a little bit extra padding. If you're really close to like 70 or 75 million credits, I really recommend that you do what I'm going to show you here, which is to find it at a discount. So if you look at the price difference with it at 15% discount, you're looking at more like 58 million credits. So that'll give you some padding right there. So to find it at a discount, what you do is use that stations that sell this build button that I showed you last time, which brings up the build in EDDB, and you're going to put in your reference system again. I'm assuming you're in Procyon. But the difference here is under powers, you're going to choose Li Yong Rui, because all the stations in his control give you a 15% discount on the ships and the modules. I'm going to find stations. Aha, there are no results found. Well, that's because the build is so specific. It's possible that there are any stations that have everything in a Li Yong Rui system. So what you'd want to do is drop modules, probably the cabins because they're abundant. You could easily just remove everything after you find all but the passenger cabins, and then just search for passenger cabins with the same power and whatever reference system you end up going to buy everything else. Let's just see if we take out, like, say, the first class passenger cabins and see if we can find anything then. Aha, and we do. So it's 99.24 light years away from Procyon, which isn't terrible in that hauler that you built in part 2, but you might want to narrow it down even more. I bet if you took even more of these off, you could find something closer, and you can. So in Al Quam at Duke Hub, they have everything but the cabins. So then again, you would clear all this once you go to Duke Hub and Al Quam, put Al Quam in a reference system, and then search for the cabins you need and go pick those up. So once you have the Python built, you're going to then make that again, you're going to store an additional first class passenger cabin. You're going to fly to New Dawn Station in Ceos, C-E-O-S. And once you dock there, you're going to transfer your 6C first class passenger cabin that you have in storage to New Dawn Station, as well as your hauler. And the reason being is that you can wrap up a Federation out here in Ceos, and when you do so, you can use your hauler to do easy data delivery missions when they come up, and they're like a promotion mission. So it's nice to have it out here for that. It's also nice because you're going to probably find that rather than leaving the area with your Python and coming back with it, once you're making enough money with it, you might want to just leave Ceos and leave the Python behind and just take your hauler to go and come back later when you want to come back and make some credits this way. So I'm going to switch over to Elite here. And we're sitting in New Dawn Station here. And now, I'm actually using a Beluga here because I didn't have time to do all of part 2 with my other account to buy a Python. So that's why I just described what to do rather than show you. And I've had more money to invest in this process when I began, so I chose a Beluga because you can make a little bit more money with it. And I'm going to demonstrate the same activity you'll do in your Python, but one other key difference is that I'm already repped up to the max with all of the factions here, which you won't be. So you'll have a little bit more limited selection on the missions when you go to select them and load up your ship, but doing a few runs will get you there. It doesn't take that long. Okay, so the way this works is that each contract you take under the passenger lounge will fill an entire passenger cabin in one of your optional internal slots. So it's not like the bulk passengers where you try and fill every seat. Instead, you want to put the best contract in each slot. So what you do is you're looking for missions that go to Sirius atmospherics for the most amount of money. However, the Federation Unite contracts will get you Federation reputation as well as money. So some people like to prioritize those, and you could only take those, but you'd have to sort of do some board hopping, which if you don't know what that is, that's switching between open and solo play until you find the missions that you want. You'd have to be more patient and spend more time at the board. If you're just making money, you can actually load up your ship and take off and come back and do it again much faster with this method than the recently nerfed long-range passenger missions, where you would actually have to spend a lot of time filling your ship up, and then you'd have to spend a long time traveling there with it all on the line, and if something went wrong, you lost it all. With this, since it's a quick burst, it's possible to recover if something goes wrong. It's not as devastating. So it's also an activity you could hop on and do for 20 minutes and then go back to real life if you don't have time to put in an hour at a time to play, which for somebody like me, that's actually really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this 1.139 million or 1.139 million credits mission here, contract, and pick a cabin for it. Now they require business or better, so I'm going to just stick them in the business here. And they have one other one going here for 897, which, because it's Federation, I'll take it, because one day I wouldn't mind being able to buy a Corvette, so I'll slap them in economy there. Now I'm going to go on to just looking for decent pay. So they're not that great. Here's one for over $1 million, so I'll take that one. They require business or better. You can always upgrade too, so if they require business, you can put them in first. If they require first, you can put them in luxury. And these guys require first, so even though they only take up 3 seats, it's still over $1 million credits for the slot, so it's worth it. Let's see what this guy has. He has several over $1 million, 1.8 million. Let me take that one. And they require luxury, so I will put him in there. Let's see. Couple more first class contracts. Let's see. 35's good. And as you can see, I have one mission available here that's not going to Sirius Atmospherics, and no other missions available from these other people. And I still have, if you go over to inventory here under your cabins, I still have some economy cabins to fill. So I'm going to show you the board hopping. I'm going to go ahead and go to the main menu. And I was in solo play, which I recommend you actually do your runs in, because this is a hot spot for players and you don't really want to get destroyed. And it's not a big deal to go to open play to pick up, contracts, but you're going to want to switch back to solo play for the actual run. So let's see here. There's one for 900,000. I'll take that. Goes in there. 696. Let's see. Goes in there. And now them being zeroed out is a pretty good indication that my cabins are full. So let me check that out. Yep, my ship is full. So I believe I switched to open, so I'm going to go back to solo like I suggested. Okay, so I'm about to disembark here. Oh, wrong button. And you want to take it easy when you go to leave the station, because sometimes there's a lot of traffic coming in. You just want to make sure that's clear before you go. You want to have a straight shot out and be able to boost away from the station to avoid any scans when you're leaving here. Does look like somebody's coming in here, so I'm going to let them go through. Somebody else is coming through, so again, this can be the biggest delay here sometimes, but imagine if you had players in the mix too. It just gets a little trickier. Plus, there's ways people can really grief you in these stations. There's another ship coming in. It's odd. It's like they must spawn outside the station when I go to disembark sometimes, because this happens a lot. Thankfully, when I come in from returning, it's usually pretty clear. So, oh, and another one coming in, so I'm gonna wait for that too. I'm actually gonna back up. This is a beluga coming in. Give him some room. Don't hit me. Oh, that was close. Another one. And there's that Type 6 there. He's gonna go out. Well, there's room for him to leave while other ships are coming in. Let's let him go. I think we're gonna be able to go. Whoop. Beluga leaving above us. Well, this is fun. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I'm going to target Sothis. And again, you want to boost away and get away from that station as fast as you can. So what I do is I target Sothis A5 and point at it, because Sirius Atmospherics is right next to it and won't appear until we're within about 900 light seconds from it. So I usually just wait until then and then target Sirius Atmospherics and go into that. And Sirius Atmospherics is now there, so I'm going to target it. So you have to target and scan the Sirius Atmospherics tourist beacon. And once you scan that tourist beacon, all the missions will complete at once. And then you can target Ceos again and head back. As you can see in the bottom right, we do have illegal passengers, so I will demonstrate how to line up the slot of the New Dawn station on the return so that you can be pointed as close to right at it as possible, which is going to save your life. If you're flying around that place trying to find the entrance, you're likely to get scanned and destroyed. Target New Dawn. If you look at the hologram of it on the left, we're pointed at the back of it. So what we're going to do is when we get close, we're going to swing down from below and try and loop on it a little bit so that when we safe disengage, we're pointed right at the front of it. See, now you can see in the graphic that it's coming into view as if it's pointed straight at the front of it now. Ooh, I'm drifting a little bit. There we go. Well, and that's how you do it. That's the run right there. You can do this over and over again. Let's see, I have 327.7 million credits at the moment. You see how much I got off of that.
Incoming message. Cargo hold at maximum capacity. Incoming message.
Now, when your cargo hold is maximum capacity, you'll want to sell those commodities because there's other missions you might have that have cargo that you can't turn in until that's done. So let's just go through the rest of this. As I'm doing this, I can see there's a ton of other good missions to go for a second run. Commodity market here. Sell off any cargo. Passengers.
Incoming message.
I'm gonna check here to make sure I don't have anything left. Everybody's off. I picked up some cargo I don't care to keep, so I'm gonna go ahead and sell that. So 337.4, so just under 10 million credits for that. So as you can see, it wasn't too time consuming. So good luck making credits out there and not getting scanned and destroyed, and fly safe, and thanks for tuning in.